So, what happened there? Did Jaime get to keep his hand? And was all that just a prank to make him, blink? Well, no. Unfortunately, Zollo, the Dothraki, or I suppose I should say Dothraki, following George R. Martin's, pronunciation guide, Zollo, the fat Dothraki, and ultimately Vargo Hoat, who gave the order, they were not joking. And Jaime's sword to hand is gone. All he's left with is a stomp seared with a flaming torch and a wound as painful as he'd ever experienced before. And all we readers are left with is a big question. Why? I mean, Vargo Hoat does say, I want to send Tywin a message, or rather, let me do a more accurate. I want to send Tywin a message. Yeah, okay, but why? I mean, if Vargo is only after the coin, now that he has a valuable hostage he can exchange for a juicy random, why would he deliberately make an enemy of the man who can make him rich? I mean, the so-called brave companions don't fight for a cause, which might justify such an act if they were, say, Robb's bannermen, one less enemy to fear, you can see the logic there. But no, they just fight for money. So yeah, first-time readers might have this huge unanswered question. Why deliberately turn your valuable bargaining chip into damaged goods? Welcome, dear listener, to the book series that makes the cog spin in your head. And welcome to A Storm of Swords, Jaime IV. And Jaime, he's not in a good place right now, shall we say. He's feverish. He's remembering the prayers he once learned as a child. He somehow thinks about his brother Tyrion and how the latter might have felt every time someone mocked him. Because right now the bloody mummers are mocking him every time he falls off the saddle of his horse. That's right, he's fallen a couple of times, and so now they've tied him to Brienne. They're sharing the same horse, the two of them. Also, they're tied face to face now, so they have to endure each other's bad breath, much to the delight of Shagwell. Shagwell, just to remind ourselves, is this bloody mummer in a fool's motley, totally psychopathic monster, and he's having a blast at looking at Jaime and Brienne humiliated like that. It's like, ooh, I can't tell which one is the knight and which one is the lady. Oh, Shagwell. Oh, you adorable you. I just hope Brienne crosses your path again, but not tied up next time. Rather sword in hand. Anyway, that's all I'll say about it now. Meanwhile, Jaime's hand, his stomp is oozing blood and pus. Yuck. But the actual severed hand is actually still with him, because Vargo has tied it up with a cord, and it's hanging around Jaime's neck. Ew. What is it with this fingers for necklace concept in this series? I mean, Davos used to wear his own fingertips in a pouch. I mean, that was his own choice, granted, for good luck or as a reminder or whatever. Oh, and then there was Chella of the Black Years, who wore human ears around her neck. Yeah, that's how she rolls. Anyway, so Jaime goes from one humiliation to the next. The bloody mummers give him horse piss to drink as a prank. Then he retches and Brienne has to clean him up like a baby. Not to mention the time she was forced to clean him up when he soiled himself. I mean, from all these lovely details, I think it's safe to assume that the loss of his hard hand, or the fever, or the pain, or the malnutrition, or all of the above, have made it impossible for Jaime to be self-sufficient. And all these humiliations are adapted quite faithfully in the HBO series, the TV series, if you remember. Except that the bloody mummers, or brave companions, as they prefer to be called, have been eliminated from the TV adaptation. You might remember. That's right. There's no Vargo Hoat there in the HBO series. Just an entirely different character. Some guy called Loki. played by Noah Taylor. And instead of being at the head of a band of mercenaries or sellswords, he's just a regular commander of a company within the Bolton army, flying the grotesque banner with a flayed man on it. So the character Vargo Hout was culled, but the action, the things he does, all of that, it was rather faithful. They were carried out by this Locke, who then just, it goes around. He does go around. If you remember in the HBO series, he ends up at Castle Black for some reason. I can't remember exactly how they contrived him to be there. Anyway, let's go back to our, the canon. The first time Jaime tries to use his remaining hand, the left hand, to handle a sword is when he unsheaths the Dornish rider's sword from its scabbard and starts swinging it about, only to realize that he's not very good at it. He does that because he'd rather be killed sword in hand, But no, they won't even let him have that. The mummers, they just incapacitate him. So he's lying there, and he's thinking, wouldn't it be nice if I just died here, like looking at the stars. And he's looking at more constellations. I'm keeping track now, yeah? The King's Crown, the Stallion, the Swan, the Moon Maid. Some of them might be stars, actually, not constellations. So Brienne sees him like that, lying on his back. She goes, well, what are you doing? Why, I'm glad you asked. As a matter of fact, I'm hoping to die here. And I guess this is as good a time as any to remark what a dark joke George R. Martin has played on the readers, yeah? Right at the beginning, in book 1, he set up the character Jaime as a villain, as a clear-cut villain, a dude who we loved to hate. First significant thing he did, he flung an 8-year-old boy out of a window with the intent of killing him. And, readers tend to remember something like that. In fact, first-time readers at the time, thinking they were reading a conventional novel, must have thought, oh, now there's a clear-cut villain, right? Yeah, good. Ha! I can't wait for him to get horribly punished for his act, as always happens in these novels, right? And now, Martin has given readers what they've been hoping for the last 2.5 books. Not only that, but thanks to the POV structure, now we get to experience the whole thing. And it's almost as if the writer was yelling at us, now watch him suffer. Yeah, isn't that what you wanted? That's right, enjoy, you're welcome. What's the matter, too much? Well, isn't that what you asked for? Yeah, go, enjoy a bit more suffering. Yeah, okay, I don't do a very good George R. Martin impression. That was me interpreting the author's voice and intentions. Anyway, so Brienne will have none of that, wanting to die business. She goes, no, mate, no, you can't die. I didn't realize what a coward you were, dude. And that word really stings, because he's never been called that. He's been called Kingslayer, yes. Oathbreaker, liar, murderer, cruel, treacherous, reckless, yes. When in fact, all he'd rather be known as is Sir Jaime Lannister, Knight of the Kingsguard, and, in case you forgot, still Warden of the East. Oh, I hear you say. That's right. The Knights of the Vale and the Arryns, Lisa Tully in particular, might have a thing or two to say about that, but the fact remains that Robert Baratheon did name Jaime Warden of the East upon Jon Arryn's death, way back in Eddard 2. Of course, Game of Thrones, because Eddard chapters can only be found there in Book 1. Now, I know what you're going to say. Tywin has expressly announced that the title will be restored to House Arryn in this same book we're reading right now. Tyrion 3, to be precise. That small council meeting, remember? But that's only going to happen after Lord Peter Baelish, a.k.a. Littlefinger, marries Lysa and gets her to swear allegiance to the crown. And that hasn't happened yet. So for now, nominally at least, the Warden of the East is currently captive in the hands of the Bloody Mummers. What's up with that, huh? Anyway, Craven? No one had ever called him Craven before. Is that what he's become now? He's thinking, without his sword hand. Really, was he ever just a sword hand? But no, he thinks to himself, no, I must carry on. He's thinking his beloved sister Cersei is waiting for him. She'll need him, not to mention his brother Tyrion, that he's so fond of. And I think it's a beautiful thing that in the most tragic moment of his life, the people he chooses to concentrate on are his siblings. When he needs to go to his own, happy place mentally. In fact, I wish there had been more flashback descriptions of, past anecdotes of Jaime and Tyrion doing brother stuff together, as lads, hunting, fishing, whatever. Not just flashbacks of him and Cersei shagging, and by the way, this technique of going to one's own happy place mentally is one of the things Jaime does during tough times. And in fact, he gives it a particular name, something like going away inside. Like when he advises Tommen to do the same later on at some point in Feast for Crows chapter, if memory serves. And Jaime notices that Brienne also has a fortress built inside of her, mentally again, which I interpreted as something similar, mental discipline, a technique and whatnot. So he's thinking, sooner or later these bloody mummers will have their wicked ways with her, but they can't get inside her fortress. That's an interesting thought. No, but really, what I actually want to focus on is what Jaime thinks about next. With regard to Tyrion, when he says, Tyrion, his little brother who loved him for a lie. That's interesting, huh? And I told you I'm not going to give you any spoilers here, in case you, dear listener, happen to be a first-time reader. And if I haven't told you, I'll say it now. In this series, I will only be looking back, not forward or ahead. So let me look back then, since I'm allowed to do that, because what Jaime has just told us connects with something equally enigmatic he said in A Clash of Kings, Catelyn 7. Let me just read you the quote. I will say, this is him talking, yeah. I will say, I think it passing odd that I am loved for one act of kindness I never did, and reviled by so many for my finest act. Now, we know that his finest act of his is killing King Aerys II. But could this act of kindness he never did, and this lie Tyrion supposedly loves him for, be one and the same? Rhetorical question, yeah, actually, but let's put a pin on it, because we'll have the answer soon enough in this same book anyway. And let's not forget that to motivate himself to stay alive, Jaime also has his own kill list, like Arya Stark. The young wolf who had beaten him in the Whispering Wood and killed his men around him. Edmure Tully, who had kept him in darkness and chains. These brave companions, of course. So there's another reason to stay alive, kind of like Django, the original Django, as played by Franco Nero, living to exact revenge on those who maimed him. His hands, coincidentally, don't know if you've ever seen it. Django, 1966, spaghetti western by Sergio Corbucci. So anyway, the next morning, Jaime, or should I say Jaime, it is spelled like the Spanish name, Jaime, so why not? Django, Jaime. Yeah, anyway, so he forces himself to eat, even though the bloody mummers are mixing his porridge with horse food, straw, hay, I don't know. Lots of horse themes here, vis-a-vis what Jaime ingests. I don't know if that's supposed to mean something, symbolically speaking. Been thinking about it, I don't know. Like, for example, the fact that Jaime refuses to name his horses because he doesn't want to get attached to them, because it's too painful every time one of them dies. I don't know. I've been thinking about the theme of horses in Jaime's life, but I haven't come up with anything solid in terms of symbolism or whatever. Please do let me know if you have. Anyway, so he's thinking, yeah, I've got to live. Yeah, live for Cersei, live for Tyrion, live for vengeance. A Lannister always pays his debts. When I reach King's Landing, I'll have a new hand forged, a golden hand, and one day I'll use it to rip out Vargo Hoat's throat. Hoat's throat. And now you see where all those foreshadowing bits in past chapters were pointing to when Tyrion said, maybe I'll have a new golden nose. You know, the foreshadowing of a Lannister having a prosthetic made of gold, etc., which I didn't want to spoil for you at the time. But yeah, there it is. That was the one tiny setup, and this is its tiny payoff. So anyway, a few days later, a few more days of writing and stench, Jaime finds out their destination is Harrenhal, and that makes him laugh out loud, which costs him a whiplash on the face. What's so funny about Harrenhal? Asks Brienne. The funny part being, as you might have guessed, that Harrenhal was where he first donned the white, where he was made a Knight of the Kingsguard at that famous tournament everybody took part in. So to go back there now, in that state, cruel and ironic. So yeah, not exactly funny, haha. And one night, the moment we were dreading arrives. 3 of the worst mummers, the fat Dothraki, Zollo, Rorge, and Shagwell, are heard arguing among them on which one of these 3 should take Brienne first. Ugh. And at that point, Jaime reiterates the importance of, having that mental technique of shutting yourself off from the world, So he goes to Brienne, let them have the meat, and you go far away. It will be over quickly, and they'll get less pleasure from it. And Brienne is like, she's still, belligerent. They'll get no pleasure from what I will give them. She whispered back, defiant. I like that attitude, but ultimately, what hopes does she have of fighting back 3 beasts like that, and possibly other mummers too who might join? No, but it's interesting because this mental technique of going far away, as Jaime's thinking about it right now, and I keep repeating this, but so does George, because he says it again, let them do it and go away inside, is exactly what he did way back in the day when he was only 15 and he was forced to witness the horrible deaths suffered by Rickon and Brandon Stark, after they'd come to court, demanding that Rhaegar give back Lyanna Stark. I'm kind of oversimplifying the story. Besides, Rhaegar and Lyanna weren't even in King's Landing at the time. But it's all described, again, in A Clash of Kings, Catelyn 7. The famous, third degree that Catelyn inflicts on Jaime after getting him drunk in a cell back in Riverrun. Anyway, this time the focus here is on the mental discipline Jaime had to learn to master in the presence of atrocities committed by the Mad King. That, not to put too far a point, Rickon burned in his own armor and Brandon strangling himself, tied to a sort of a machine that tightened the noose around his neck with every attempt he made at rescuing his own father, which is really something right out of the Saw movies, except Saw came out, 5-6 years after A Storm of Swords, right? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, picture that, or maybe don't, if it's disturbing. I find it disturbing. Anyway, so the three mummers grab Brienne, bidding her not to scream. Well, again, I'm putting it mildly, actually, because Roger, oh, such a charmer. He threatens to gouge out one of her eyes, feeding it to her, and then knocking her teeth out, not sure exactly in what order. And it's at this point, it's actually Jaime who screams. He screams the word sapphire. And I love how George R. R. Martin inserts that sapphire subterfuge in, because it first occurs to Jaime, as he keeps saying right now, as he keeps saying to Brienne, go away inside, you know. Think of Renly if you loved him. Think of Tarth, the place you're from. Mountains and seas and pools and waterfalls, or whatever the heck you have on your Sapphire Isle. Oh yeah, that's right, Sapphire. Yes, the Sapphire trick. So that's how he remembers, no? And he goes, and he shouts, Sapphire, what is the Sapphire trick? Well, you will remember that just in the previous Jaime POV chapter, Jaime did say to Vargo, see that you don't break any bones on that wench, because she's worth her weight in sapphires. At which point Vargo Hoat said to his men, she's not to be touched, she's worth a good ransom, blah, 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 blah. Which really, when you think about it, made the mutilation of Jaime's hand at the time, literally one paragraph later, under orders from the very same Vargo, all the more incredible. Because surely, if prisoners worth a ransom are not supposed to be mistreated just because of their value, and not out of humanitarian reasons, to be sure, then surely why chop Jaime's hand off? See, this is becoming more and more... But anyway, more and more mysterious, more and more inexplicable. But anyway, Jaime shouts sapphires, all in capitals, which costs him a kick on his stomp. Ouch! Oh my God, why always the stomp? And Vargo intervenes here again, forbids his men to touch Brienne, and places a guard next to the tree where they tie her up every night. And it's only a couple of nights later. How long have they been traveling, by the way? I'll have to look that up on the timeline, you know, the most precise ASOAIF, I'm a terrible speller, timeline in existence, you know, that Excel spreadsheet online. Anyway, it's only a couple of days later that Brienne summons up the courage to say to Jaime, well, you didn't have to lie to defend me, you know. Why'd you do that? Which, I don't know, if you've come to from that Arya chapter, that's exactly what Arya says to Gendry, you know, after the latter rescues her from that creep. There's a strange parallel here. I don't know if it was intentional. You didn't have to lie to defend me, you know. Gendry at the time said, you know, yeah, she's my sister, leave her alone. And Jaime here, Jaime's all like, yeah, well, would you rather they had raped you, huh? Besides, I did it because I wanted to hear Vargo Hoat say sapphire. Yeah, it's funny because lisp. So next challenge is for you, right? Try to make him say saucisson à la Suisse, because lisp. So funny. No? Okay. All right. Then I suppose I did it out of gratitude, yeah, for how you saved us from being recaptured by that Robin Ryger, you know, back in the river. Robin Ryger sent out from River Run to recapture us, and you threw that boulder on his boat, which was like really badass, if you ask me. And a Lannister always pays debts, blah, 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 which of course is not true. None of that is true, gentle listener, because you remember that at the time, when Brienne was trying to get back on the boat after sinking that Robin Ryger's own boat, Jaime was still considering killing her instead of helping her back on board, you know, like with a paddle right on her head, you know, like in the talented Mr. Ripley, like that, just like that. So no, I personally don't buy it, if you ask me. Anyway, so they finally enter Harrenhal, and both captives are made to walk, hands and waists tied to Vargo Hoat's horse. Not horse, Zorse. Basically, a horse striped as a zebra. Now, I don't think zorses in this universe are the same as those crossbred, zebroids in our universe, because I've seen a few pictures of those on Wikipedia, and they don't look all that impressive or indeed ideal as mounts, animals you can ride. I think these zorses in this universe are more like mythological creatures in the universe of Ice and Fire. First time we hear about these Zorses is in a Clash of Kings, Area 7. The bloody mummers, arrive in Harrenhal. And every time they arrive at Harrenhal, there's something to write home about. Oh, look, they came on Zorses. This area happens to be there at Harrenhal at the time. And this is and it's at this point in time when Harrenhal is occupied by Tywin Lannister's troops, And check out, I wrote it down here, check out this description from Clash of Kings. The queerest company, it's right there. The queerest company of men she'd ever seen arrived at Harrenhal. Beneath the standard of a black goat with bloody horns rode copper men with bells in their braids. Yeah, these are the Dothrakis. Lancers astride striped. Striped. You try and say that real quick. Astride striped black and white horses. Okay, Zorses, sure enough. Bowmen with powdered cheeks. Not sure who these are. Squat, hairy men with shaggy shields. Okay, again, it's not too clear. Brown-skinned men in feathered cloaks. I'm guessing Summer Islanders. A wispy fool. Here we go. Where's someone we know? A wispy fool in green and pink motley, that's Shagwell. Swordsmen with fantastic forked beards dyed green and purple and silver. Spearmen with coloured scars that covered their cheeks. A slender man in Septon's robes. Okay, that's Septon Att. Very unsavory character. A fatherly one in Maester's grey. All right, we are about to encounter this one. It's Qyburn. And a sickly one whose leather cloak was fringed with long blonde hair. And this one, sickly looking, this one must be Urswick the Faithful, I'm guessing. Which was, I think, described as cadaverously pale. So much that you could see blue veins on his skin. Very charming people. So now we're looking at this other pompous entrance into Harrenhal by the bloody mummers. Brienne and Jaime paraded, walking before them on a leash. The latter muttering to himself that a Lannister always pays debts. And this one he swears he'll pay with interest. And we're all looking forward to that. Come on, listener. Come on, you're with me, right? You would love to see that. Okay, well, let's keep reading. By the way, in the HBO series, this is where this Locke character is this it where Locke and Ramsay Snow meet, because Ramsay Snow being at Harrenhal in the TV series. I can't remember if it's here that the TV series located Ramsay and Harrenhal for this encounter. You know how the TV series had the habit of teleporting characters here and there, while in the actual book we're reading right now, to our knowledge, Ramsay is currently dispatching men along the King's Road from the Dreadfort in search of Bran and Rickon. We learned that in the latest Bran chapter we read. To do what, by the way? Why do you think Ramsay, who we like to think is taking orders from Roose Bolton, right? Why would he want to find Bran and Rickon? To protect them? Because surely, Starks, Northmen, okay, all united in the same cause, to make sure that nothing bad happens to them? Or not? That's a question I didn't ask last time I did the commentary on the last Bran chapter, where we had just someone, some what was it, a little character who relayed the news to Bran. He told him, the bastard from the Dreadfort is looking for, if you know what I mean, dead wolves, young dead wolves. Say no more. and we inferred that he was talking about none other than no, not Brandon. Yeah, Brandon Rickon. Yeah, that's right. The character pretending not to know that he was actually addressing Bran himself. Anyway, so okay, because I don't know. Anyway, why am I going on about this encounter between Locke and Ramsay, which has no equivalent in the book? You know, Vargo Hoth and Ramsay don't. Well, because, I'll tell you what. Yeah, let me tell you what. It's not just because these two villains obviously could not help but like each other. Hey, how you doing, mate? Did you do much killing and torturing? Oh, well, you know, the usual, same old, same old. Flay this guy, drown this other fella. Yeah, you know. How about you? I hope you had a good time. Yeah, we just chopped some bloke's hand off, as you do. Yeah. It's not just that. The two villains are obviously, you know, found themselves, you know, liking each other, being you know, there being such a huge affinity between the two of them. But I'm saying this because in the HBO series, the actors playing these two villains, these two actors were both at different times played the role of Adolf Hitler. Surprise, surprise. Noah Taylor and Ewan Rion. I hope I'm not butchering his name. Noah Taylor and Ewan Rion, I think, who plays Ramsay. There, I just wanted to put out that info out there. You know, Noah Taylor played Hitler in Max, you know, that film with John Cusack, and Ewan Rion played they both played a young Hitler pre-Nazi in that TV series Urban Myths. There. So now you know. Okay. Back to this book, if you'll excuse me. Brienne, upon seeing the banners, God bless her, utters some famous last words, like she goes, oh, look, she actually squeezes Jaime's arm. Getting forward, aren't we, Brienne? Oh, look, she goes, Lord Bolton holds this castle, and the Boltons, you know, being bannermen to the Starks, you know, everything will be all right. Smooth sailing from now on. Ha! Of course it will. At which Jaime's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not so confident. Also, don't the Boltons skin their enemies alive? Tyrion will know all that stuff, you know, all the Tyrion, you know, he knows all the trivia, and he'll definitely know all that there is to know about the Boltons. Bookworm that he is, but he's hundreds of miles away, so that's not particularly handy right now, is it? And as he passes by the very spot where he remembers being made a knight, you know, but being made like in the mafia, he remembers being made a knight of the King's Guard. Why the good news keep on coming? Because that very same spot has now been dug up into a trench, and it's being used as a privy by the Bolton army. So yeah, charming. More banners are spotted. Freys, Boltons, indeed. And look, Stark direwolves right next to heads on spikes. And Vargos are like, behold, the Kingslayer. Ha ha ha, the Kingslayer. Yay! All the servants are out there, you know, in the courtyard to have a look. So yeah, you know, it's not anyway. Because you remember when the so-called Lannister was taken in chain by the huntsman in that Arya chapter, right? And here it is. And at first, the reader was, you know, steered to believing that it was indeed Jaime. But no, because Jaime is indeed being paraded in chains, but in a different location. And yes, there are some Freys actually there at Harrenhal right now, just out there, just looking, and Jaime recognizes them immediately. Sir Hostine Frey, Sir Danwell Frey, and Sir Enos Frey. Okay, that's spelled Aenys, actually, okay? It's Enos. How childish am I? So Jaime recognizes them as Old Walder Frey's sons, all three of them, you know. Although Hostine and Danwell are from Walder's third wife, this Crakehall lady, and our good friend Ines is from Walder's first wife, a Royce woman, you know, those bronze guys. And Jamie is kind of familiar with old Walder's sons because one of old Walder's sons married Jamie's very own aunt Jenna Lannister, Aemon Frey to be precise, who, by the way, is Aenys's brother. Aenys's brother. I hope it's all clear. No, but why did I take this detour into the Frey family tree, which so many have done before me, and in much more detail? Because Jamie does something clever here. He offers the Freys his condolences for the loss of Cleos. Remember him? Aemon's and Jenna Lannister's son, who died a slapstick death in the previous Jamie POV. And makes it a point to mention that the Bloody Mummers looted Cleos's body and left it there to rot. And while he's at it, by reminding the Freys of Cleos, you know, he also reminds them that some member of their family did fight for the Lannisters in the War of the Five Kings. So yeah, smooth move, Jamie boy, smooth move. And Brienne's approach to the Freys is somewhat more naive, unsurprisingly. She goes, all right, fellas, good that we're all here, because after all, we're all sworn to House Stark, so we're all clearly on the same side. Now, listen up, yeah, but Aenys spits on the ground. This is what I think of Robb Stark, who betrayed us. Uh-oh. It's not looking good for Brienne, while Jaime's thinking, that's interesting. See, neither Brienne nor Jaime are aware of King Bob, you know, the minion. I meant Robb's marriage to that Jane Westerling, in violation of that promise Robb had made, among other promises, that he was going to marry one of Walder Frey's daughters and join their houses. But Brienne is on a roll. But let me finish, My mission, is to escort Jaime Lannister back to King's Landing so that Catelyn Stark's daughters can be returned to their grieving mother, And this time it's Urswick who, contributes. He goes, some mission, right? You were going to drown the dude when we found you. Because they were fighting. Fencing, should we say, when the Bloody Mummers came upon them. And and the Freys are like, we still don't care, I don't know why you bother telling us all that stuff. We don't care. Though they are conflicted about it. Why don't we actually ransom Jaime to King's Landing, huh? Oh, no, better still. Let's ransom him back to Castle Rock, which has more gold. Which I really don't get, because really the person they'd ultimately ransom Jaime to would still be Tywin Lannister in both cases. So does that mean that the ransom would be different depending on what capacity Tywin would be in when Jaime is handed to him? Handed, no pun intended, never mind. So because in the capacity of hand, oh, here we go again. In the capacity of hand to the king, then Tywin would help himself from the crown's coffers to pay the ransom. But in capacity of Jaime's father, he would pay his own gold from, with his own gold from Castle Rock. I'm confused when really the real question I should ask myself, I'm wasting my time asking myself these questions. The real question I should ask myself, what are these Freys doing here, huh? Consorting and discussing strategies with Roose Bolton, who, by the way, he's been there all along in this scene, listening to this debate as to what to do with Jaime, and when he finally interjects something, everyone stops talking. because Roose talks in whispers, so it's kind of difficult to hear what he's saying. Oh, and also because everybody's terrified of him, if you didn't know. And what Roose Bolton says is this. Let me see if I can go a little deeper and do a Roose Bolton voice. No one. Okay, I'll try that. No one gets to decide what to do with Jaime Lannister so long as I'm here. All right? I'm in charge around here. I'm the big cheese, yeah? When I leave to march north, then you can do what you like, okay? When you're a grown man, you can do what you like, but well, as long as you're under my roof, you do as I tell you. Okay, these dialogues have been slightly paraphrased in case you hadn't noticed, dear listener, but yeah, that's kind of the gist. The one who doesn't seem terrified of Ruse is actually Jaime, probably emboldened by the fever. And he goes, "Oh, hello there, mate. Oh, still recovering from my father's armies. Yeah, because he kicked your butt, didn't he?" Ruse doesn't say a thing, which is all the more terrifying. Those pale eyes remind Jaime of the day Ned Stark came into the throne room while he sat on the late King Aerys's throne. For the life of me, I cannot begin to imagine why that association has been placed there. I'm sure there's a reason, but I can't think of one. Has that something to do with Jaime's unease with Northmen in general, whenever they're looking at him with hostility? Oh, your guess is as good as mine, dear listener, or possibly better. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, so when Ruse finally does speak, is to inform Jaime that his right hand is missing. Never one to shy away from pointing the obvious. Your hand is missing, Jaime. If you're so smart, how come you misplace your own limbs? Why, thank you for pointing that out, sir. Yes, but I still have it, actually. It's right here, see? Hanging round my neck. Okay, let's, you know what? This is Ruse talking. You know what? Let's get this thing out of the way. Yeah, Vargo, that's gross. Vargo, come over here, boy. Fetch. And Ruse snatches the hand and tosses it at Vargo, who catches it and informs Ruse of just what he's planning to do with that hand. No, nothing obscene. He just get a load of this, yeah, Ruse. Listen, how are you gonna love this? First, we're going to UPS. We're going to FedEx this hand to Tywin, yeah, and demand a ransom. Then, once we do get the ransom, we're still going to ship Jaime to Rickard Karstark. Thank you. Who wants this guy so bad that he's promised the hand. Oh my God, hand puns keep on coming. Karstark wants Jaime so bad that he is promised the hand of his daughters to whoever delivers the Kingslayer to him. Highborn, lowborn, he doesn't care. Lots of hand jokes here. I know, I realize too many. Yeah, it was in Catelyn 3, if you remember, that we learned of this reward, you know, Rickard's daughter in marriage to anyone who delivers the Kingslayer, dead or alive, to him. But Ruse bursts that particular bubble because he goes, "Yeah, no, mate, fine plan. You have a fine, with the same, the same tone he would use to say, oh, this wine is not too bad, actually. It's a fine plan, I suppose. But I wouldn't be so sure, you know, because Rickard Karstark has been beheaded by Robb. He's one head short, to use Roose Bolton's own words. And Tywin is busy with the preparation for the wedding between Joffrey and the daughter of Highgarden. Which, I don't know, sounds like a weird line to utter, huh? Well, Tywin is too busy to be bothered to ransom his own son. I don't know, mate. But I guess that line was inserted there so that Brienne could correct Roose. Pardon me, sir. Surely I think you'll find that Sansa is in fact the daughter of Winterfell. Nah, there's Roose Bolton. Nah, sorry, love. Things changed while you were away. Don't even know who you are, actually. In fact, given Roose and how he was introduced to us, wouldn't it be even more in character to have him say, "Why is this one speaking to me?" Do you remember when Arya dared ask him a question way back? Anyway, no, things have changed. Joffrey's no longer marrying Sansa, and he's in fact marrying Marjorie. But Jaime is all too happy at the news, so he inquires as to how Cersei's doing. Is she doing all right? Roose is like, yeah, Your sister's all right, and so is the king. Your your so-called nephew, who is clearly your nephew to you and nothing else. Oh, and your brother Tyrion, he's taken a wound in battle, but he'll recover. Now, clap, clap. Let's have this Jaime Lannister healed by Qyburn, the closest thing we have to a maester around here. And this Brienne, let's have this Brienne untied. Was that you say, Brienne? Some of these brave companions try to have their wicked ways with you? Tut, tut, tut. Not cool. Ah, there goes my sleep tonight. My conscience will keep me awake, you know? Yeah. You really can tell Roose Bolton couldn't give a flying saucer. But Brienne goes on, yeah, they took my sword, my armor. Yeah, all right, love, don't push your luck. You don't need any of that around here. You're under my protection. We'll see for how long, yeah? So Jaime and Brienne are escorted away in two different directions. Jaime is taken to this Qyburn guy, and we finally get to meet the maester who's not quite a maester. Or rather, the maester who's no longer a maester. Now, the first time the HBO series introduced Qyburn to viewers, I mean, the directions they took was so different on so many aspects that it's hard to even list all the differences. It was at the beginning of season 3, I think, the HBO series. Game of Thrones season 3. And Robb Stark arrives at Harrenhal accompanied by Catelyn, Roose Bolton, Rickard Karstark, and I guess this is when Roose Bolton takes over Harrenhal in the series, because the place is in ruins after Tywin and Gregor Clegane have left it. And somehow, what other names, Weiss and Benioff, contrived to have all those people converge there at Harrenhal. And the changes keep on coming, because it was at this point that Robb ordered his mother to be temporarily imprisoned at Harrenhal, for the crime of having released Jaime. And it's actually Robb who finds Qyburn in the rabble. In fact, Robb and his newlywed wife Talisa, a character that in the TV series replaced Jane Westerling. Are you keeping track of all the changes? Because I've lost count at this point. They find Qyburn, but he's not embedded with the Bloody Mummers because there are no Bloody Mummers in the HBO series. So he's just there, on his own. Oh, I'm doing rather poorly. And I guess he was a regular maester of Harrenhal. So he's wounded, but Talisa heals him because she's like some kind of Red Cross type person, from Volantis, of all places. She's a completely made up character, not strictly canon. That Chaplin gal. Who was she, by the way? Geraldine Chaplin's granddaughter or grandniece? I don't know. Anyway, so he's wounded. Qyburn is wounded in the TV series, but Talisa heals him because she's like some kind of a Red Cross gal, and Qyburn remains at Harrenhal as the resident maester, looking after Bolton when the latter takes over the castle, I think. At which point, I think the TV plot sort of realigns itself a bit more closely with that of the book. But yeah, a bit topsy-turvy, I dare say. And, this is where I'd better shut up, because now, after that, things will be pretty much closer. Events will be kind of closer to what happens in the books. So, as I promised, no spoilers here. So, I'll shut up about it. Anyway, back to the book version of events, yeah? The one version we happen to consider canon. I don't know if you agree with me, dear listener. Qyburn, there he is. He goes, oh, right, mate, go. That looks nasty, that stomp you've got there, mate. He's talking to Jaime, you see. Says, okay, that does not look good, mate. Now, do you want to save the rest of the arm? Just out of curiosity. Casually as a dentist would ask, yeah, do you want to save it? Shall we just extract? To which Jaime candidly replies, do you want to save your own life? Yeah. Is the Pope a Catholic? A Catholic? So Qyburn gets the message real pronto, and he goes, all right, okay, all right, just asking, yeah. At which point, it proceeds to, he proceeds to list the cutting-edge level of surgical procedure and pharmaceutical products available in this universe. He goes, okay, very well, okay, I'll do this, yeah, we'll cut away the rotten flesh, try to burn out the corruption and with boiling wine and a poultice of nettle, is it sticky nettle? Mustard seeds and bread mold, mayhaps that will suffice. And you will want milk of the poppy for anesthesia. Nah, mate, I'll have none of that. Pain is my friend now, you know what I mean? Yeah. All right then, I suppose I'll need my earplugs then, because you'll scream. Trust me, mate, you will scream. Have some wine at least. Yeah, don't mind if I do. Cabernet Sauvignon, yeah, let's have a sip of the old Chardonnay. So, and again, I'm paraphrasing this dialogue, all right? But anyway, yes, sometime an agonizingly painful procedure later, during which Jamie even faints from the pain. What did you expect? Qyburn is sewing up the stump. We learn that he's experienced in doing this sort of operation because Vargo, chopping off people's limbs, it's his thing. Yeah, he loves it. What are you going to do? And we also learned that this Qyburn guy, he doesn't fit the profile of a total monster, That's weird, Soft-spoken, kind of like a grandpa. But he does confess that the Citadel revoked his right to practice the Maester profession. So he must have done something bad. Because they took away his entire chain, not just one or two links. That means, he's forbidden, he's legally forbidden from doing any Maester stuff, Not just healing. Technically, if he doesn't have a chain, he's not even allowed to tend ravens, work out horoscopes, what else? Accountancy, yeah, that's another one. So you can't do, you can keep your accountancy books. So that, coupled with the fact that he's working for the bloody mummers, that it should tell you something. It's safe to assume that it must be a pretty naughty man, not a very ethical, but we'll see. Be it as it may, Qyburn does tend ravens, yeah, he does that too, as well as healing people here in Harrenhal, meaning that he can inform Jaime on the outcome from the Battle of the Blackwater. Stannis was defeated, and Tyrion unleashed wildfire on the enemy, which reminds Jaime of a vision he had some time ago. Here, let me read it to you. Jaime saw green flames reaching up into the sky, higher than the tallest towers, as burning men screamed in the streets. I've dreamed this dream before. It was almost funny, but there was no one to share the joke. What could he possibly mean? Well, we'll have to keep on reading and we'll find out. He said it was almost funny, but he couldn't share the joke. Does that mean that it's something that Jaime wants to keep secret and he might reveal to someone close to him in a future chapter? Shut up, Salsa. You've said too much. So the final exchange between Jaime and Qyburn revolves around Brienne and how much Jaime actually cares about her, no matter how he keeps mixing insults in her direction. Even when he's telling Qyburn, yeah, make sure the woman I came with, that big blonde, blue eyes, make sure she's also looked after, yeah? You know the one, yeah? Told you. Taller than me, uglier than you. That's exactly what he says. So Qyburn goes, yeah, sure, yeah, why not? And he gives him some, final Maester advice, like call me in the morning, take one of these with every meal of horse dung and straw and hay, whatever they give you. And I'll give you more of this and more of that to speed up your recovery, and I'll give you some leeches. Yeah, you got to have leeches around here, yeah? Of course, leeches. No therapy around here is complete without leeches, yeah? We have a whole farm of leeches, Lord Bolton is fond of them. We have a whole farm of leeches, just we don't know where we're going to find a tractor that small. No, so I can't take credit for that joke, because that was, what was his name, that comedian? John Lurie, is it? John... Ah, damn. Anyway, look him up, please. It's not that I'm not giving out the name because I refuse to. It's just that I can't think of his name. This is a really funny guy. Always sounds like... sounds depressed, always. He's been in a few movies with Jim Jarmusch. He did some voiceover in Reservoir Dogs. Hell, I know did a lot of stand-up comedy. I know his entire career and I can't remember his name. Shame on me. Anyway, so yeah. We've got leeches. We've got a whole farm of leeches because I will have you know, Lord Bolton is fond of them, you know? Which, of course, comes as no surprise to Jamie, seeing the company Lord Bolton is keeping, you know what I mean? And this, dear listener, is where Jaime IV from A Storm of Swords ends. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for listening and keeping me company this far. I hope I kept you company. And if you like this kind of content, don't forget to do the various things that everybody does under such circumstances. And I look forward to speaking to you again. Bye.